Welcome back, welcome back. So, I believe all of the cards have been released. The only ones that were missing, at least from the card list that I went through and counted, I believe were some epic rares, but we got the basis of them all. All the cards. We know what's to be expected, and I wanted to kind of go through and talk about it a little bit and show the cards that I expect to see maybe getting played in competitive decks and where and why they could be there. And I also have a list of a handful of cards that were already legal that maybe they start to see a little bit more play. Some of them have already been noticed and talked about. Others maybe not so much. So we'll kind of go through the list and talk about each card. So first and foremost, it's our first boost card, the new mechanic where you can put cards underneath them, and it's going to be a Emerald Inkable Flynn Rider. He's a 1/2 1 quester, so you play him on 1, but for boost 2, so on turn 2 you ink a card, you can pay 2, you can put a card under him, and then he becomes a 3/2 2 quester as a essentially turn 2 play, if you will. Quest for 2 right away though, and again, being a 3/2 body is very strong. So where could this be good? I think that this could be a sneaky card into some more aggressive style decks, whether that's green steel or like a Sea Dog style deck. The downside, I guess, to this card is Captain Hook is a very real threat. Fire the Cannons is a very real threat, and they both out this, and if it takes 2 turns to develop it, well, it's probably not going to be super ideal there. However, let's say if you're playing this in Sea Dogs, you can go like Lady on 1, and then you come back with Flynn Tramp, Lady quest for 3, and then the following turn you can boost your Flynn and play another 1-drop. Something like that I would expect to be a little bit more along the play lines that you would go for. You don't necessarily boost it on 2, you can boost it on 3 or 4 as you develop your board out wider, and then it just becomes a bigger threat for your opponent to deal, or they're going to like have to throw a Calhoun at it, and then their Calhoun also does not survive the challenge, which is just going to be really good for you. So I do think that this card is going to be very strong, and it's just an uncommon, so I don't expect it to cost very much. Mowgli Man Cub. So we finally get a Mowgli card, and it's a 2 cost for Amber, and when you play it, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character of their choice. So obviously this once again is going to be an aggressive card, if you will, but really any Amber deck can play this. Even discard decks could play this, and it discards a non-character of their choice. So obviously Under the Sea is a card you want to get rid of, right? Downside is it is of their choice, and when we're looking at a deck like say blue-green, well, they play a lot of non-character cards, so the fact is they're probably not going to get rid of that Under the Sea unless they're pretty comfortable that they won't need it. Rapunzel. This is a card I'm actually pretty excited for. Trying to cook up a little fun list thing that pivots from being an aggressive early start into a grindy long game in a Amber Sapphire list. And Rapunzel, Ready for Adventure, a 2 cost card, and she has support, but whenever one of your characters is chosen for support until the start of your turn, the next time they would be dealt damage, they take no damage instead. So a couple things about this. Chosen for, so that means like she quests, she chooses a card. That card doesn't take damage the next time. In this case, Rapunzel would. So what's an instance that would make this a little bit better? Well, if you go Rapunzel on 1, Alice on 2, which gives everything support, the growing girl, and then you come back the following turn, especially if you went like Aurora on 1, you can either shift or you can just quest her to play Big Aurora cheaper, and then all of a sudden your other characters get ward, and then in addition to getting ward, they get support, so now you can be protected on a couple fronts. The other thing is with Rapunzel though, it's the next time they would be dealt damage, so meaning your opponent just needs a challenge into them 2 times or throw 2 actions that would deal damage at them. And keep in mind, dealt damage, that doesn't apply to moving damage. We know that because of like Bell moving damage to a Calhoun. Resist does not apply. Resist, when this character would be dealt damage, it's reduced by 1. It's not being dealt, it's being moved. So that is a way around her as well, that moving damage will still apply as normally, just like it does with resist. But Rapunzel is still a fun card that I expect to see some play in. Probably, it's it's hard to say where. She might find her place in a few kind of niche random decks, like more aggressive, or just even like a princess deck, because I think that they have a lot of things going good for them. Iago being the next one. It's a 2-drop 5 challenger. That's crazy value. The downside is it's two willpower, so it's going to get mopped, right away, kind of like a Rafiki where it's got the zero strength. But just being a 5 challenger, that's wild. Like Iago plus Hypnotic, that takes out an Elsa, that takes out a Hades, that takes out a lot. It takes out a Clarabelle. Like, That's nasty. Moving on, then we do have another Amethyst one, and this time we're going to go on over to Merlin, who is a uninkable 2-cost boost 2/0/3 2-quester though, and when this character is banished in a challenge, if he had a card underneath him, draw 2 cards. So right off the bat, like if you look at a deck, say Blurple, it's a 2-cost card, so it's like, well, where are you going to fit that on curve? But it's a boost 2. So what does that mean? That means you hit ramp on 2, and then what? You have 4 ink on 3. You can play Merlin, boost Merlin. He's a 2-quester, and if they challenge to remove him, you draw 2 cards. Is that going to be worth it? Right now, no. I don't think it is going to be, simply because Blurple has plenty of card draw already. Like, you guys already know my opinion on a certain draw card in that deck for this current format. Obviously, next format that can completely change, be way different. It's an entirely new format, obviously. But yeah, Merlin, it's going to see some play. I think it's going to see some use. But right off the get-go, I think it's one of those cards that in the future it's going to be busted. But for right now, maybe it's not quite the format for it. Staying in those 2-drops, we got Scrooge McDuck Shush Agent, and he's a 2-cost uninkable 0/2 2-quester, almost identical, right? But when you play this character, draw a card and choose and discard a card. So kind of like the green theme or steel theme of, oh, you get to draw a card but discard a card. But that actually works in some decks. Like it's another draw discard for like a dog deck, and it's a multi-quester, so it might find some place in there, or even into like a green steel deck where again you get that card draw, and the discard usually isn't going to be too bad on you. And when this character is challenged, return it to your hand. No damage is dealt in that challenge. Okay, sounds pretty good. So you can play it, draw, discard, next turn quest, they challenge, it goes back to your hand, then you play it, and it's kind of just a nice little recursive body that they got to find a different way to out it. So I do like Scrooge, and I think he finds a place. Imagine if Mr. Smee was uninkable. Would he still have seen play? I think he would have. So Diablo, Ruby's struggling to find its identity. Next format, I think Ruby Sapphire is coming back with a vengeance, and I actually have a deck list and video in the works for you guys on that already. But Diablo is a 3/3 2-quester. The only difference between this and the Mr. Smee bumbling mate that was just a staple in steel decks for so long, it's not inkable. They learned their lesson. But guess what? He also does not damage himself. I think the uninkableness about this might be able to work around that. It's a very, very strong card. I'm excited. I think Diablo is a fantastic card. Coming in the rare spot, I don't see it being more than like $1 though. It's not gonna be like a crazy expensive card. That's something you can definitely bank on. This next one, I haven't seen anyone talk about this card, and why do I want to talk about this card? Well, I think aggro is in a bad spot next format. I think that there's a lot of cards that just out it. The new Spooky Sight card is, well, the enchanted artwork is absolutely insane. Might be my favorite enchanted across all 10 sets, but just blowing out anything 3 cost or lower, that's just, oh man, that is crazy. Like it's such a strong card. But so back to Inspector Tezuka, right? So why do I want to mention this card? Well, Amber Steel, guess what? You have Lady. What does Lady do? She plays 2 cost or lower characters, and Jim Deere has already been in and out of decks because why? He's a 0/4 bodyguard, and sure, this has 3, but guess what? Your opponent's taking the 2 damage in addition. So now all of a sudden it's not like Jim Deere where they just throw something into it, they pay the cost for Tiana, they do all that, right? Now they're actually taking damage from it, and I think that that's actually kind of a big ordeal. Sticking with the Bodyguard theme, and this one also could fit into there. It's a 3 cost. We got Raja with another artwork, and this is actually a pretty sick looking card, but it's a 3/4 body, which once again, when you're trading into bodyguards, if you're losing your characters, it hurts your board, and against an aggressive deck, that is a very good thing. That is why Pluto is so strong, being a 5/5. The downside to Pluto is you throw like a Tipo into it, takes 1 damage, and then your good characters are free to challenge it and not take any damage at all. Or obviously move damage onto it, finish it off, take no damage, lose no characters. That's the big downside to something like Pluto, obviously. Back on over to Emerald, and it's Megara. It's another, I'm going to be honest, guys, there's a lot of boost cards on this list because boost is the new mechanic, and boost is kind of busted on some of these cards. So Megara is a 3/4 boost, and when there's a card under her, she becomes basically a 3/4 merfolk. And I mean, that's pretty good, right? Like whenever she's challenged, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So a 3/4 body, 2 quester that your opponent has to discard a card to challenge. Fits in on curve in Baja decks to be a little bit quicker, maybe Saki 2 of, maybe, or just playing her naturally in other decks. I think this card is actually pretty interesting. I think she will definitely see some play. Kristoff, this is a card I really like, and the thing here with boosting too, if you bounce your boosted character, you get them to your hand, so it's kind of like free value, right? So let's go ahead and back to Blurple, right? Blurple got insane support this set. It's still going to be tier 1 bar none next set. So Kristoff, 2/3, 2 quester. Okay, so you can get a 2 quester down on turn 3 because you ramp, and even if you don't ramp, it's a card that you can play when you miss ramp, which is something that Blurple really could use. So you miss ramp, there's no 3 cost cards, you're playing down. It's unfortunate, right? Like it's hard to play through it. Kristoff offers you a way to fix that though, because it's a natural 3 cost card. But say you don't miss ramp, now you can play it on 3, then you also have the ink, you can boost it, which now next turn, whenever this character quests, if there's a card under him, put the top card of your deck into your inkwell, face down, and exerted. So it helps you ramp then. So let's say you ramp, right? You ramp, so turn 3, you have 4 ink, you play Kristoff, you boost Kristoff. Now turn 4, you ink up to 5. Turn 4, you ink up to 5. You quest with your Kristoff, so then you get to put a card from your deck. So now you ramp up to 6 on turn 4, and then you can actually boost again, right? So you boost again, you have 4 available ink, 2 cards under your Kristoff, you play an elephant, you bounce Kristoff, you get Kristoff and your 2 cards that came from the top of the deck back into your hand. Now, essentially for turn, you're on turn 4, you have 6 ink, you have an elephant down, and you got Kristoff plus draw 2 in your hand. Kristoff is actually insane. At first, I was like, maybe we cut elephant next format. I think Kristoff might make elephant a 4 of next format, because that is just absolutely busted. If they don't answer Kristoff, you go to 6 on turn 4 and essentially draw 2 cards. That is so strong. I mean, like, I'm excited. Blurple is, we're sitting good. We are sitting good. Zeus, holy cow, another boost character. 2/3, 2 quester, 3 cost. It's like there's something here with those stat lines on these boost cards. Boost for 2 this time though, not just 1. While there's a card under it, it gets 2 strength and 2 willpower. So essentially, for the cost of 5, you can have a 4/5 2 quester, and I mean that's nothing to really that's pretty good. A 4/5 2 quester. I'm not gonna lie. That's a pretty strong card. How much play will you see? We'll see. We're gonna go ahead and hit a 4th boost character in a row. Have we had every color? We have had every color. Good. I like when every color eats. So Ariel, and well, this is one of the iconics of this set. Also an epic, also a boost. I think it's an epic, maybe it's not. But boost for 1, okay? I wish I would have left the other artwork because this one is definitely much harder to read, at least for me on the computer. 4 cost, inkable, 3/4, 2 quester, boost for 1. Once during your turn, whenever you play a song, if there's a card under her, you get to draw a card. So do Steel songs start to come back? We got the new, never mind. I'm not gonna say nothing about that yet. Later in the video we will. There may or may not be a new Steel song that's like basically Zeus 2.0. Okay, yeah, there is. We all saw the reveal. It's on this list. We'll talk about it in a bit. But Ariel, maybe Steel Song starts to see a little bit more play. Maybe it figures it out. Maybe it can do something. And now it actually has a little bit of a draw engine. I'm just saying, it's little things like that the deck needed. Webby Vanderquack. These Enchanteds this set. Oh my goodness, guys. These probably my favorite set for Enchanted. Like, these are absolutely gorgeous. Shift 2 has Ward 2/4. Whenever this character quests, if an opponent has more cards in their inkwell than you do, you put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. Quest for 2. Is Sapphire really that popular? Blurple, Ruby Sapphire coming back, Baja. Okay, yeah, Sapphire's probably going to be pretty popular. Now green can go ahead and just ramp as long as this card's on board. That's pretty good. Pair that up with Hey Hey, and all of a sudden green gets to ramp right there with those blue decks. Hercules the Mighty Leader, another legendary, a 5/3 for Ruby. This character cannot be dealt damage unless he is being challenged. So strength doesn't work on it. Fire the Cannons doesn't work on it. Again, can't be dealt damage. You can move damage to him. Just throwing that out there. If judges come out and rule that differently, I have a huge question because resist refers to dealing damage and moving damage does not apply to it. So, it should translate over. I guess if I'm wrong on that, my bad. But again, then I got some pretty big questions for Ravensburger, and we need a judge program ASAP. Regardless, we need a judge program ASAP. But quest for 2, and while this character is exerted, your other hero characters can't be dealt damage unless they're being challenged. Okay. Is there a ton of damage dealing actions though? Like there's a handful. Strength obviously jumps out. Fire the Cannons. The new Zeus lightning bolt. I'm trying to think how strong this is right now. It's because if it doesn't apply to moving damage, it only applies to dealing damage. I think it'll get better. I think it'll get better. This is probably one of those legendaries that's going to start out cheaper, start not seeing play, but come post next rotation, oh man, watch out. They're going to make it work. Something's going to be good about it, right? I mentioned princesses, and I've seen people talk about this in Blurple. Personally, I hate this card in Blurple. I don't think it finds a place in Blurple whatsoever. It inks a card from your hand, draw a card. That's pretty good because she's a princess, so you play her. She's a princess. It doesn't say other card. And you get to put a card from your hand into your inkwell, so it can be uninkable. That's cool. And you get to draw a card. That's cool. So why don't I like her? Well, she's a 4-cost uninkable card. Ramp and draw is kind of cool, but what if you have a good hand? Then you're just not going to use her effect, and she's a useless uninkable card. She's a 2/3 that quests for 1, because you're not going to use her ability to ink off a good card and for a random draw. Like that's just not a smart play whatsoever, I don't think. There's so many other good ramp cards like Kristoff. I'd play 4 Kristoff before I ever touch this card in Blurple. I think she helps princess decks immensely, like gives Amber Sapphire a very strong draw engine in addition to like some other new cards. So I think in a princess deck she's phenomenal. The artwork's insane. Again, these Enchanteds are just absolutely gorgeous. But like Blurple, I don't like this card in Blurple at all. Belle's another princess, so you could potentially get another trigger for. But Blurple doesn't need the card draw. There's better ramp cards. But like in a princess deck, she's pretty good in a princess deck. I'm not gonna take nothing away from her there. back to Steel, Robin Hood. So it's like the 3 costs are 2 3s, the 4 costs are 2 4s. I'm starting to see a trend here. 2 quests are boost 1. Whenever this character quests while there's a card under him, deal 1 damage to up to 2 chosen characters. Okay. Merfolk just got way worse. Again, deal 1 damage, so that applies to like Hercules protects from this. So I mean that's actually pretty good in like a Hercules hero aggro deck. Robin Hood can't do nothing. I guess Tinkerbell dealing the damage or challenging over 1 can't deal damage that way neither. So probably 2 of the more relevant things outside of like strength and hook. I think there's a ton of potential for this card. It's another way to check aggro decks. I think aggro's in a bad spot this next set. I think Steel Song's starting to piece back things to become a thing. Maybe not set 10, but maybe set 11. They get the final pieces they need for Steel Song to come back, and this might be one of those pieces. Just being able to again deal some damage to some characters, and it's when he quests, so you get to quest for 2 and then deal 2 damage or 1 damage to 2 different things. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty good. And it's another way, like if you have like strength for 3 and him questing, well, that's 4 damage. That outs a Genie, that outs a Tiana. It's a pretty strong card. I do like this Robin Hood a lot. I like the artwork of it. It's kind of, I don't even know what to call that, like almost like a Crystallis but light kind of coming up. Arrows is the whole artwork. This set, I'm so excited for this set. The Headless Horseman. So it's a 4/4 cost Bodyguard. And why do I put this on here? Kind of like the other Bodyguard, they're pretty, just basic, right? But Pluto's a 5/5 unless you fire the cannons, unless you move damage, unless you throw a T-bow into it, unless you do anything to make it have damage. And now all of a sudden it's just a card that gets outed really easily. Whereas Headless Horseman's a 4/4 regardless, and that means you throw 3 into it, it's still a 4/4. You're 2 for 1ing yourself. I do like this card as a potential option for like Amber Steel aggro. I think that they can swap out their Bodyguard package and instantly become slightly better. I still think that it's in a very bad spot with how many ramp decks there's going to be, and they're going to be playing the spooky site. So I'm not huge on aggro decks for that reason, but I do like their Bodyguard replacements that they got for the format. Okay, so Gwythaint, the Savage Hunter. One, it's evasive, right? It's another 5 cost card. So what deck does it find its way into? Purple Steel, Blurple, Amethyst Emerald. It's so generic and it's so incredibly strong that like I think any Amethyst deck really can, other than like a hyper aggressive deck, it's not gonna find its way in there. But like I'm testing it too in Blurple. I'll have an updated list for you guys relatively shortly, sometime this week yet. But it's a 4/3, so it takes out Genie, takes out Dumbos, and whenever it quests, though, each opponent chooses and exerts one of their readied characters, and it quests for 2. So it quests for 2, and it forces your opponent to exert a character. So like, how many times on stream did we just see where like Dogs or Purple Steel, like you get into that like stalemate where it's, I'm gonna start building out wide, get to a point where you can't respond to everything, but now all of a sudden Blurple got a lot of cards that force responses, right? Like Gwythaint here, you get to, every time you quest, your opponent has to exert something, so now you can start going into their board. They can't just sit back and build their board up, because every turn you're going to pick something off as you're questing for 2 in the process with a very powerful evasive card. I think that card just has a lot going for it. I like it. I like this card a lot. This might be my favorite card of the entire set, though. I'm not just saying that as an Amethyst fanboy, but I'm saying it as an Amethyst fanboy, but like, we have what? Into the Unknown, Hades. Otherwise, it's like move damage with Belle, exert with Ursula, exert with Elsa. Big Elsa. It's things like that. But you're giving me an inkable 5 cost card, right? An inkable 5 cost. 3/4 is a good stat line too. You're giving me an inkable 5 cost that says I either get to draw 2 cards or I get to choose one of your characters and you put it to the bottom of your deck. Okay. In what world is this card fair and balanced? Like, this, honestly, I see this card as being like a $65 legendary. Like, this card is, maybe I'm wrong on it, but to me, this is the best card in the set. Like, not even close. Like, draw 2 or Under the Sea one of your cards. Like, what? And I see so many people like, oh, I'm gonna play 1 or 2. It's a 4 of, like, not even a question. That's draw 2 or out a card as a 5 cost. Meaning, how many times you can slap this down and bury 2 cards or draw 4? Yeah, sign me up. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. Another Amethyst card. Sorry guys, I get a little distracted and excited on some of them. So Ursula, 5 cost boost, and like I said, 5 cost, 5 willpower, 5 cost, 5 willpower. I definitely think that's a trend. The 3 costs have 3 willpower, the 4 costs have 4 willpower, the 5 costs have 5 willpower. The snozberries taste like snozberries. So it's a boost 1, quest for 2, but while there's a card under it, she gets +1 lore and gains evasive. Not evasive on your turn either. Not alert, actually evasive. So essentially you play her, and then you don't have to boost her right away. If you have the ink for it, go for it. There's not too many 6 drops though in the deck either, so that means next turn when you ink, you go to 6, you play a 5 drop, you boost her. Perfect, still fits on curve, and then that means she's evasive. She's a 4/5 evasive who quests for 3. Yeah, like I said, Blurple, we are eating. We are in a good spot. I'm not gonna lie. There's so much good support for Blurple. We can't even play it all. Like, we have to choose which good support we want. That's how much good support Blurple gets. That some of it won't even make it into the deck because there's that many good new cards that some of them just won't fit into the deck. That's insane. For the best deck in the format to get that much support, that is insane. And guess what? The most of them, purple cards. What's the next best deck? Purple Steel. People hate purple right now. People are going to go crazy in set 10. Yeah, that's, that enchanted. My goodness. That is fire. The Headless Horseman, Terror of Sleepy Hollow. When you play this character, banish chosen opposing character with 2 strength or less. So it's a 4/2 and it outs a card on play against aggressive decks. This outs Tiana. This outs Genie. This outs, I mean, take your pick. A lot of things. This outs 7 cost Tramp, 6 cost Tramp. This outs, again, take your pick. It outs an Elsa evasive. Man, it's pretty good. Or hear me out. Maybe in some weird Ruby Sapphire items thing, find some play and lower some strength on characters, and all of a sudden this outs just about anything in the game. That's pretty good. Quest for 2 also, and during your turn, whenever an opposing character is banished, each of your characters get +1 strength this turn. My goodness. So you play this, you banish a character, all your characters get +1 strength. You challenge into something, you take it out, all your characters get +1 strength. You banish another character, everything gets +1. Now you're at +3. All of a sudden we start to get into those plays where at the end of your turn, if you have the 5+ strengths, maybe we start to see some of them other cards like Maximus have a little bit more value. That card's not on my list. I just thought of that right now. But yeah, the Headless Horseman, I think this card's crazy. Love the card. And this enchanted is, this might be the first set where I want every enchanted. Like, they're so nice. 5 cost Daisy Duck, 5/6. Not the Daisy Duck that everyone's going crazy over, but this one says your other Sapphire cards gain resist 1. Kind of gives you Cogsworth vibes, doesn't it? Yeah, kind of does. Doesn't have ward, but it's also not a 3/5. Was Cogsworth 3/5, 2/5? I think 3/5. It's a 5/6 because your other Sapphire characters resist. I mean, you go like Aurora, then Daisy, all of a sudden now you have resist and ward. That's just kind of cool. But whenever one of your other Sapphire characters quests, you may look at the top card of your deck and either put it at the top or at the bottom. So essentially you can start filtering through your deck. Does she see play? This is one of the big ifs. I don't know if she really will see play, but just something about like if you have like 3 or 4 Sapphire characters, okay, quest, look at the top card, Tipo, that can go to the bottom. Quest, Hades, yeah, that can stay right on top. Just being able to do that. And again, if you have 3 Sapphire characters, you could potentially put 3 bad draws to the bottom of your deck and help filter into what you want to get to. Scrooge McDuck. I think whoever works on these cards really likes Scrooge because he seems to get pretty good cards. 6 cost, Inkable, 4/7, Shift, 4, Quest for 2. But when you play a character or location with boost, you can boost them for free when you play them. Okay, that's pretty cool. He is a later game, so I will say that. Maybe in the future we get some, like if we get some broken high cost boost cards, I'm just saying, you get him down as 6 costs, especially in like a Amber Steel ramping deck. You get Scrooge down, and then all of a sudden you play a boost card. You get to boost them for free right away. That's pretty good. Or in draft, this card in draft. I'm just saying, there's a lot of boost cards. This card in draft might win you your event. We have a lot of cards. I did not realize how many we have. We're going back to Amethyst with this one though. Demana. And yeah, a lot of people have this as maybe their best card in the format. I think she's incredibly strong, but I don't think it's a 4 of like Hades is, but she's a 5/6 2-quester, 6 costs. And when you play this character, exert all opposing characters. This doesn't care about ward, doesn't care about anything. You exert it. So kind of going back to the dog, purple steel, these decks, blurple mirrors, where it's like your opponent wants to just, work it out and decide when they want to go and turn cards sideways. You slap this down, they don't get that choice no more, and you get to trade into them very effectively. And each player with fewer than 3 cards in their hand draws until they have 3. If you have 3 or more cards in your hand, this character can't ready. So I get that part's a little bit of a drawback, but I'm going to be honest. It still seems pretty good. I'd play 2 of them, even if I know I'm going to have a huge hand that she doesn't get to ready. What's my opponent going to do? Challenge into a 5/6, or just leave her sit there? And if all of a sudden I start top decking, guess what? Now she does get to ready. Just saying, are you going to deal with her, or are you going to let her sit there until I can use her again? But the effect is absolutely crazy. And maybe, just maybe, there's a card that I'm going to tell you guys about that you should probably look at, because I'm just saying, it might be that dollar legendary that goes up to 4 or 5. Don't take your financial advice for investing into cards from this video, by the way. I want to say that right now. This isn't me saying these cards are going to go up in price. This is me saying cards are probably going to be pretty playable. Not giving financial advice in this video. Daisy. This is the Daisy we're all looking at. So shift 4. Okay, so you can go aggressive Daisy on 1, ramp on 2, shift Daisy on 4. She's a 4/6 2-quester with support. Okay. Everything checking out here now. That sounds just crazy. And while she's exerted, cards enter opponent's inkwell. Exerted. Okay, so kind of puts your opponent back a turn, right? Like, especially if you're on the play, even against a ramp deck, they're going to have 3 ink. They're going to try to go to 4. They're going to ink for turn. Guess what? It's inked. They're stuck at that 3-cost turn for another turn. That's actually kind of good. And then it, like I said, it puts them an entire turn behind because they're inking, but they're inking exerted. So, man, this pretty good, right? Like, so turn 1, play Daisy. Turn 2, you ramp, quester Daisy for 2. Turn 3, shift Daisy, quest. You're up to 4 now, and 5 if you have Tipo, I guess. So potentially up to 5, which doesn't seem that crazy, right? But now your opponent's going to be stuck at 3, which puts them back a whole turn. So then you come back, you can ink to 5 if you want, or if you don't need it, now you spam the board, right? Like we might see an Amber Sapphire deck where you play like 4 high cost daisies and a bunch of ones and 2s, and just like even the 3 cost Alice, who gives ward and the extra lore, because you're putting your opponent back an entire turn. And even then, like the next turn, they're an entire turn back if you're on the play, and it might be a pretty spicy deck. I'm not gonna lie that. I mean, Spooky Night's still a card you're gonna have to look out for, but again, that's 6 cost. So let's go over that. They ink turn 1. They ink and ramp turn 2. You're on the play, so you get this down. Now turn 3, they're still at 3 ink. Even if they double ramp, okay, they double ramp, goes to 5. You get another turn, so now you're all of a sudden going up to like 10 or so lore, okay? Then they get the 5 because the 2 are readied. They ink again 6, but it's exerted. They can't use it. They double ramp, it doesn't matter. They still can't use it. You're going to go up to like 15 plus lore before they can even Spooky Night. And Spooky Night's an action, so they can't develop their board wider. So they ink all your low-cost characters. This card is not a low-cost character. It survives. So essentially, you're going to take like a 17-0 lead, and you're going to have like 12 ink. Yeah, doesn't sound too bad. Probably don't really have to ink much past 4 or 5. I would say like 5 is probably the highest you ink. You ink for 4, get to your Daisy. Next turn, ink to 5, spam the board, and then when they Spooky Night you all of a sudden you got like 10 ink, and you just win the game because you flood the board again. Like, if they're going to Spooky Night you 2 turns in a row, if they have it, they have it. But they're not developing their board then. They're not taking out your Daisy then. You're going to be in a really strong spot. So Amber Sapphire aggro, I think, is actually going to be a pretty good thing to look out for. And guess what? Ludwig's a pretty good card. Rip that Spooky Night out. That's the card you spam on turn 4. So you go Daisy, ramp, Daisy, Ludwig, 1-drop, 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 or Ludwig, 2-drop, 1-drop. I'm just saying. It's going to be a play. It's going to be annoying as hell, and it's going to be strong. Man, I'm going to build that deck now. I'll get that video for you guys later this week. Goliath. Why does this one go from the enchanted to not the enchanted? That's just weird. And all the others go from regular to the enchanted. Weird. Anyway, so Goliath. Gargoyles. Sorry. How do I feel about the gargoyles? And I do apologize. This is a long video. I realize there's between the 2 lists that I'm talking about, there's going to be like 50, 60 cards, and it takes a little bit to talk about them, I guess. The clan leader, 6'5", 2-quester. That's crazy. And all the gargoyles have the stipulation of stone by day, where if you have 3 or more cards in your hand, they can't ready. So the start of your turn, it's like, how do you make gargoyles effective? How do you get them to work? And Goliath is that answer, because at the end of each player's turn, if they have more than 2 cards in their hand, and they choose and discard cards until they have 2. Okay? If they have fewer than 2 in their hand, they draw until they have 2. So at the end of your turn, if you have more than 2 cards, you choose and discard until you have 2. So you go down to 2 cards, which means you ready. So stone by day, you ready, set, you apply any effects that go, and then you draw. Now you have 3, but you already readied. And keep in mind too, at the end of each player's turn, if they have more than 2 in their hand, they choose and discard. So if your opponent has 6 cards in hand, they discard 4. It's not may, they do it. I'm just saying, Goliath might be the second best card in the format, or in the set. Maybe makes a case to be number 1, but I still got Hades above this card, but this might be my second best card in this format, or in the set, sorry. Prince Charming. This is another one though. Like, the legendaries on this set are really strong. I like what they got going for them. He's a 3/10 bodyguard. Each turn, only 1 character can challenge. This card alone is going to make it where you almost have to be playing like Hades or some type of removal, because only 1 character can challenge. But here's another thing. Support could be a big thing. Like Alice Growing Girl. I'm going to talk about her. She's on my list, and this is one of the cards for why, because everything gets support. So you quest, move the strength, quest, move the strength, quest, move the strength. Alice quest for 5, move the strength. And then you have something really strong to slam into Prince Charming if you even need to at that point, or you just keep going aggressively. But Prince Charming is going to be a kind of tank to deal with. And, well, I think Amber Sapphire is going to be a good deck. Blurple's a good deck. I think Ruby Sapphire's back. Baja's good. And Steel Sapphire's good. Sapphire is probably the color that can just get played in every combination next set. And it's not because Sapphire got that much better. It's just, it works so good with everything out there, and it got the right cards to fit. Or maybe it's more the other decks got the right cards now, that who knew ramping would be very, very strong? Everybody. The last character we have, Sheer Khan, Fierce and Furious. Last character, finally, we're getting there. 8 cost, 8/8, 2 quester, shift 5. So you can pay 1 ink, deal 1 damage to this character, ready this character. He can't quest for the rest of the turn. Keep in mind, if you don't deal him the damage, you don't ready him. So if he has resist 1, he will not be dealt damage. He will not ready. Keep that in mind when you're trying to build decks around this card. I got 3 actions. Putting it all together, I don't know if this one sees play, but maybe in a weird world it does. It's a 2-cost song 2-cost action. If it was a song, it would see play. 2-cost action. Opposing character can't challenge during their next turn. Draw a card. Why might this see play? Well, if your opponent gets a Scrooge down, if they have a Belle down, if they have a card that can take out your Tiana down, you play this on the following turn, and that card can't challenge now, and you get to draw a card and probably play 1 or 2 more low-cost cards and develop your board out even wider. Freezing up a little bit here. That's my computer saying, hurry up and get this done. The Horseman strikes. 3 cost. Draw a card. Okay, draw for Amber. Banish chosen character with Evasive. Kind of good. 3 costs, just destroy an Evasive card. Means any Amber deck can out a Genie. Any Amber deck can out, Elsa's. Any Amber deck can, it's an action that chooses, so it outs any Vanish character anyway. Obviously, they have to have Evasive because you can't just choose a Cobra with it. I think the card's pretty solid. I like it a lot. My favorite card of the set. Like I said, this artwork might be my favorite artwork in 10 sets. It looks so cool. Like, you can't tell me this card does not look absolutely insane. Like, shout outs to all the artists, but I zoomed in. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Shout outs to this artist, Spooky Sight. So, put all characters with 3 costs or less into their player's ink wells face down and exerted. The craziest thing is, it's not just your opponent. It's all characters. So versus aggro, you blow out their board. 3 costs or less, that is 90% of their deck. But guess what? For you, those Tipos, those Rafikis, those Basils, them low-cost cards that really aren't doing a whole lot for you, they just become 2 or 3 extra ink for you. So you blow out your opponent's board and you ramp yours in the process. Gosh, I think this is my 3rd best card in the set. Maybe it's higher. I don't even know. Like, if I try to do a top 10, it's going to be spicy at the end. I don't know if I can do it. Okay, but I'm much faster. I'm going to try and speed this up a little bit. We got 4 songs here. First one's a 1-cost song. Chosen character gets Alert and Challenger plus 2. They can challenge as if they had Evasive. That's what Alert is. It's the new thing. And why not just say Evasive on your turn? Because of Dumbo, because of cards like that. So they wanted an interaction that allows them to challenge into Evasives while not allowing things like Dumbo to just get free value off of it. Still very, very strong. Challenger plus 2 and Alert. All of a sudden your Captain Hook can take out a Genie now too. Pretty good, pretty good. Just saying, pretty good. Malice, Mean, and Scary, a green song. 3 cost. Inkable, put 1 damage counter on each opposing character. Prince Philip, anybody? Prince Philip, anybody? Can't hold it back anymore. Let It Go now has its third song. You have Let It Go, Can't Hold Back Anymore, and Let the Storm Rage On. Next set we're going to get Because the Cold Doesn't Bother Me Anyway. Actually, we probably will at some point. Future fortune telling now. 4 cost song. Exert chosen opposing character. Move all damage counters from all other characters to that character. I don't know how I feel about that, but it can be an absolute blowout. It can heal your whole board, but it also heals their other characters. I don't know how I feel about this card just yet. But it's going to see some play. Mark my words, it will see some play. He hurled his thunderbolts. Okay, it's essentially Along Came Zeus. It's the new one. But it's not deal 5 to character or location. It is deal 4. And your deity characters gain +2 challenger this turn. Okay, what are probably the most common deity character? Hades? Blue Steel? Okay, so now all of a sudden Blue Steel, Hades is a 5/6 because the challenger on your turn, and you deal 4 damage to something else. You can use this, out a genie, and then use Hades to slam into something very effectively. That's pretty good. Or Ruby Steel Song, you know, you got some Hercules, like the new Hercules. He's a 5/3. He would swing for 7. You take out a Hades and you swing for 7. You take out a genie. So all of a sudden, this plus your Hercules, you can use this to take out a genie, then Hercules strong enough to take out a Hades. Just one quick little example. We got 4 items and then 2 locations, 6 cards. Junior Woodchuck Guidebook. Why does Amethyst get all the good draw cards? Well, it's the identity of the color. That's why. Is it fair? Abso-freaking-lutely not. Do I love it? Abso-freaking-lutely I do. Exert, pay 1 ink, banish this item, draw 2 cards. Okay. That's pretty busted. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about it, right? I like it a lot. Okay, I said I was gonna go faster, and then I keep getting like fanboying over these cards. Enigmatic Ink Caster. Uninkable 2 cost card. Exert, and if you played 2 or more cards this turn, gain 1 lore. Okay, so maybe in an aggressive Sea Dog style deck, you get this down. You get it down. Like on turn 3, you play 2 more cards, you exert it, you get a lore, you quest your cards, you get lore. Next turn, you play 2 cards, you exert it, you get a lore, you quest a bunch, you get a lot of lore. Maybe there's some foundation there. We'll see. It's uninkable, though. That's a big drawback. Could have been inkable, and it still would be fine. Ink Runner. I like this card a lot. When you play this item, draw a card. It's Popsicle, but it costs 1 more. It doesn't heal a card either. But you can exert it and pay 1. Chosen character gains Alert, which means chosen character can challenge Evasives, which means Monstro can mow down anything, everything. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited for Blurple. It is not even funny. It's actually hilarious. It is not even fair, though. The Black Cauldron. Are you kidding me? Look at these enchantments. So nice. Exert, pay 1, put a character from your discard under this item, face up. Exert, pay 1. This turn, you may play a character from under this item. Did Sea Dogs just become Circle Dogs without Circle? Almost feels like they did. Tramp, put a whole bunch into your discard. Pretty good. Not gonna lie. All of a sudden, you can get a very high cost card, essentially for paying 2. Takes 2 turns to get them out. You pay the 1, put them in the cauldron. Next turn, you pay the 1, take them out of the cauldron. But getting like a Surfer Stitch, a Clarabelle, a Prince Philip, an Infinity, a Chernabog for 2 costs. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Seems pretty broken. Speaking of Infinity, the Great Illuminary, you put your Monstro here, you get a Jafar down, you exert your Monstro, draw a card, you discard that card. Sorry, we're going to go in order. You move your Monstro here. You play your Jafar. So, like, you play your Jafar. You play Monstro. The following turn, because you have this out already, you have this out, or you had Jafar out, or you shift Jafar. Anyway, your Monstro's ready to do what he wants to do. He's not drawing. You get your Monstro in the Illuminary. You have your Jafar exerted, and you exert your Monstro. You draw a card. You gain a lore. You discard the card. You ready the Monstro. You exert the Monstro. You draw a card. You get the lore. You discard the card. You ready your Monstro. You exert the Monstro. You draw a card. You get the lore. You discard the card. You ready the Monstro. You get the point. So Infinity gets an infinite loop. In addition to that, this is a card that could be very interesting. Kind of gives a Dumbo effect. You don't get the lore, but gives a Dumbo effect for just any deck running Amethyst. Does it see play outside of Infinity? With only 3 willpower, I'm not sure that it does. White Agony Plains. 2 cost, 1 to move here. 7 willpower. This location gets +1 lore for each character here. The downside to like a Dogs deck is you don't ink very much. But let's say your opponent hits you with some Hades, with some Into the Unknowns. All of a sudden, even if you're up to 5 ink, right? So you're up to, say, 5 ink. You're in a game state where you're, not quite safe to quest, or you want your opponent to turn sideways. You want to force their hand. You have 5 ink. You play this. You move 3 characters here. If they don't get rid of it, you get 3 lore next turn. You force their hand. You force them to do something. And for that reason, I like this card quite a bit. So yeah, that's my take on 42 pretty playable cards. Amethyst and Steel each with 9, Amber and Emerald each with 7, Sapphire with 6, and unfortunately, Ruby, you only have 4. But both of them, both your legendaries are in there, and the 5-cost Headless Horseman is absolutely cracked. So you got that going for you. We got 18 cards that become better in the next set. And here, Ruby, well, you got 6 of those 18. 33% of them are yours. I'm not going to zoom in on all these cards. Now I'm going to speed it up. We're going to go a bit quicker. Tinkerbell, Insistent Fairy, her price going up towards $8, so other people are already aware of it. But when you play a character with 5 strength or more, exert them to gain 2 lore. Okay, why might she see play? Because Ruby Sapphire is going to be a much better deck. Does she end up making her way into there? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. That's why I'm saying she's a card that might see more play. Being said, blue-red, items, Oswald, they go hand in hand. Does Oswald find his way into those decks? Probably not, but Infinity's also getting more popular. Great card in Infinity, so it's a card that might start to see more play in the coming months. I already mentioned, does Steel Song start to come back, start to see some more play? There's some tools for it. I think we're still another set away, a little bit more support away, but we're getting close to it, so keep an eye on Aurora and Prince Naveen. When we talked about Damana, guess what? What's a good way to make use and to get rid of your hand? Why not something like Madam Mim? Pay 2 ink, choose and discard a card, gain 1 lore. Oh no, I have 6 cards in my hand. I'm going to pay 4 ink, discard 2 cards, get 2 lore, and now my Damana readies herself. Does it see play? I don't know. But it's a way to play with Damana and to control your hand size and to get something out of it in the process and not just be like, well, I just got to dump my hand for nothing. No, you can dump your hand for lore at least. Again, not saying it will, but maybe it does. Ariel. So I think that Ruby Steel is still the best way to play Steel Song, and I think it gets a couple new tools. The new song is incredible for it. Robin Hood is incredible for it. So naturally, Ariel is going to be in there because of Shift Ariel as well. When you play a song, giving Evasive to another character, this Ariel absolutely, I think, sees more play because I think Ruby Steel is going to be a better deck next format. Not saying it's going to be Tier 1, not even Tier 2, but I think it's going to be very, very playable Rogue, and you're going to see it more than we do this format. Mickey Mouse Detective is back. Reprint confirmed, which means you can actually take advantage of the 3-cost Shift 5. Such a weird stat line, but when you do, he becomes a 4-questing 5/5. That is insane. And he's evasive. 5/5 evasive that quests for 4. Turn 4. Turn 3. Turn 5. Turn 4. Shift 3. Don't listen to me. I've been talking for too much. Alice Growing Girl. Remember how I was talking about support? Whether you're playing an aggressive deck and trying to go fast, when you're trying to lock things down with the new Rapunzel, or you're trying to beef up your characters to get over the new Prince Charming and Steel. I think Growing Girl's actually sitting in a pretty good spot to see more play next format. There's a lot of potential location talk out there. Daisy Duck, draw engine for locations. Maybe you want to play her. Item decks, Scrooge, again, Scrooge, right? Items, Scrooge, items. You're acquainted now. That's good. Actions, there's a lot of actions. We just said it was Scrooge. Lilo, actions, Lilo. Now you're acquainted. There you go. And Aurora. I think Aurora sees more play. The princess is getting a lot of support, and like I said, just getting ward down on some of these Sapphire decks is going to be really strong. I like Aurora a lot moving forward. I'll start on the left here. We'll go in order. This is probably one of the cards I'm most excited for. Camilo. Remember how we talked about like Kristoff, Elephant, bouncing it? Well, what about things? This is my plan for Damana. Okay, so you get Camilo down, right? You have Damana. Guess what? You can, next turn, quest your Damana, get your 2 lore. Quest your Camilo, get 1, bounce Damana, get your 2 lore. Next turn you can play it again, exert your opponent's board. Other things you can do, you can have Camilo down, play a Hades next turn, ink one of their characters, quest your Camilo, bounce your Hades. Now you have Hades in hand. Hey, look at these. If you know. Just saying, Camilo. If you don't have a playset of this card, I would risk spending the $4 on a playset. I would do it. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Don't get mad at me if you waste $4 and it doesn't become playable. Not even 4, 2. 2 copies is plenty. Spend $2 to $3 on 2 copies. Just saying. Better be safe than sorry. Is it going to catch on and be a thing? I think it should be. Not only can you bounce boosted characters to essentially draw free cards, you can bounce your Hades, you can bounce your Damana, you can bounce your new Hades, which means you're outing more cards that way. I think Camilo is in a sneaky spot to be one of the better cards in the next format. Maui Half Shark starting to creep back up in price, and that's because Ruby Sapphire is going to be good once again. Powerline, I said Ruby Steel Song is going to be a little bit better once again, so another big key card there. So I'd get him now. He's they're between this set, next set, I think Ruby Steel Song is going to continue to grow into a better and better deck. So I think Powerline's a good card to have. Tamatoa, we're seeing we got a new item, we got a new draw engine to run Tamatoa. I'm just saying. And guess what? Whenever this character quests, you can play an item for free. You get the carpet bag out. You get the carpet bag and the ink, the ink runner in rotation, right? Just saying. Might not be bad. Might not be bad. Ariel. Wreck-It Ralph. Nice. The one thing I will say, though, like Popsicle worked with Tamatoa so much better. Why did Popsicle work with Tamatoa so much better? Because Popsicle, you could pop itself to heal, even if there's nothing to heal. Ink Runner, you can't do that. So it's not as good in that regard. I will throw that out there. Shift Ariel, Wreck-It Ralph 2, items and locations might be more of a thing, so a 3-quester who also gets you 2 more lore might not be a bad idea. Holy cow, this video is like an hour. I apologize for that, but there's 60 cards we talked about. 60 cards, my thoughts on them. The next set, playables, possibly played more. Someone asked about it. A couple people talked to me at the DLC about it, so I was like, yeah, we can do that. So here it is, my playable cards from the next set, playable cards from current format that could be more playable in the next set. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. Did you actually sit down and watch this video? If you did, all the power to you. Thank you guys for the support, as always. Until next time, take care.